Whenever you're ready.
Okay, so I'm going to call this special meeting of the Board of Equalization to order. It is Wednesday, June 26th. It is now 9:30. We have a full board, Mr. Town.
Present.
Ms. Sellers.
Present.
And I'm Ms. Thompson. And we have 8 items on the agenda. This is Value Setting Day. The first item on the agenda, discussion and possible action regarding our minutes of our June 17th and June 21st meetings.
Move approval of item number 1, minutes of previous meetings.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item 2 is BOE 514. Ooh. That is the, am I exempt or am I not exempt?
Deforestations.
Yeah. Account number R143647010. I'm in agreement with the assessor that the exemption can be pulled from the house plus the, let's see, how many acres?
It's about 12 and a half.
12.6. Yes, this is, the assessor explained to us the advertisement of the use of the building, the prices that were set for the use. And the owner wanted us to concern ourselves with the fact that she says all of the money from the rentals of the building go towards the organization, which in fact is tax exempt. But the statute is a use statute, not a proceeds directed statute. So if our decision is to decide are they exempt or are they not exempt, I don't oppose the designation given by the assessor.
I mean, I feel sorry for the people involved in this. I think it's just they're overstepping the advertisement. Rate sheets don't bother me because you do have to have something in writing if you're going to rent it. But I think it really is the advertising on the webpage and things like that, because they did make valid point. YMCAs have fundraisers and use their facilities. Churches do, but it just looks a little bit more overt and commercial in this case. So I don't think, according to the statute, we have any choice but to keep this as a assessed property.
Yeah, I would agree, especially since I recall we were setting the 2024 value on this one rather than the 2023. The only thing that gave me pause was on the financials, the 2023 financials, it only showed $30,000 worth of income compared to $450,000 in donations, but that was 23 and this is 24, and they didn't start running it out until I think probably the end of 2023. So
Right.
I can't really give any credence to that either. So I'm in agreement as well with removing the tax exempt status.
So on agenda item number 2, BOE 514, I move to set the fair market value of this property at $1,043,119.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, item 3 on the agenda is BOE 515, which is an 84 unit apartment complex that had a 22 sale of $5,000,009, and the assessor has it at $5,910,000, and the property owner, Mr. Malden, wanted it at $4,822,780. They're not that far apart, $500,000 apart. This is a Section 42 property. We are just a year away from the sale, and if it was a valid arm's length transaction for $5,009,000, I have no problem with the assessor increasing it by $10,000.
I think the assessor actually lowered it from, they increased it from last year, from the 2022 valuation, but they lowered it from the sale price.
Right.
Yeah, I think, his argument is that they bought it at a very low cap rate or something like that.
3%.
But I'm leaning with you as well, even the cost per unit is very low compared to what we've seen with lots of other apartment complexes. They're typically over 100, and this one's coming in at, where the 70, so that was cost per square feet, I'm sorry, cost per square feet at 79 versus 100. Even though we didn't look at comps, it speaks to me that it's very, very low. And I think the assessor's concern is that they purchased this as an investment sale. So they're likely gonna sell it for more.
No vacancies.
Yeah. And I actually looked it up online as well, and it looks like a very nice apartment complex. So, yeah, I'm good with the assessor's evaluation.
I'm good as well.
Okay.
I'll make a motion on BOE 515, item number 3 on the agenda to set the fair market value at $5,910,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, item 4 is BOE 524, the E.O. Sheridan again. This is the backing out of the intangible, right? The property owner is down to $22,000,009. The assessor dropped 10.5 million. Started out at 38,227,940, came down to $29,547,680. Okay, this was the Rushmore theory and how to interpret the Rushmore theory. I'm going back and read it again. We are 7 million apart. And I don't know that I remember that he ever told me about the 365 rooms available versus the 396 rooms.
Well, the only thing I thought was that was perhaps the 70% occupancy.
That's right, it is. Okay, what you think, Brett?
Well, I have a problem with the 25% intangible. I think that's
Aye.
Yeah, I did too.
high. And so what I looked at was just some small things which could affect it. I think there was some personal property that could be deducted out, and the reserves were high. So doing that, I looked at possibly going as low as 28 million, but nothing like 22.9.
And I ended up at 32. I'm sorry, I ended up at 26. Let's see. They're at 22.9 and the assessor's at 29. I'm trying to interpret my
29,547.
295. 3.2. 29. You ended up at what, Brett?
Basically 28 million, 27,887,000.
What did you do?
Yeah, I did a little research on that Rushmore approach because I wasn't familiar with that, and I found a document called In Defense of the Rushmore Approach. And I specifically searched on intangible value. And there was only one section on that document that basically stated that it is possible to have no residual intangible value if you're looking at comparable properties that all have similar occupancy, right? And I cannot imagine that the Skirvin and the Cold Court don't have at least 70% occupancy in our downtown area. So I didn't really buy that argument about the intangible value either.
I could live with the 29 million that the assessor asked for, just because it came down 11 million or 10.5 million. And it was almost like a triple. It was a double deduction, and the percentage is high. I could live with your.
I could too.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do either. I'm fine with it.
So are we good at 29 million?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd like to move on item number 4, BOE 524, that we set the fair market value of this property at $29,547,680.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, the next item on the agenda is BOE 527, which is 3600 South Thomas. P 311A519.
Well, my problem with this was I don't think there was enough. He's trying to throw in a macroeconomic argument into this, where it really is probably more of just a sales issue. And the assessor started at $11 million and went down to 7.8, and he reduced two different areas with them. And as a man named Meatloaf said once, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah.
So I'm going to support the assessor at 7.8 million.
I do too.
I agree.
Good.
So I'd like to move on item number BOE 527, agenda item 5. We set the fair market value of this property at $7,866,429.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that leaves item 6, which is BOE number 528. And let's see, that is 5200 North Plaza. I messed up my notes on this one. Is this the one, is this the gate value?
This is the sleep-in suites where.
Oh, the sleeping.
Yeah, the taxpayer's representative was using strictly the income value, and the assessor's using a combination of the income value and the sales.
And I'm not sure what percentage the assessor's office uses when they do that. Is it 20%? Is it 25%? I've seen it bounce around a little on that.
Give me the two values that we're debating.
1,625,135
Yes,
is what
this
the taxpayer wants, and 2,194,316 is the assessor.
Okay.
This one
But he said he could live with 1,710,000.
From 528?
Yeah,
I thought that, oh, okay.
didn't he?
he did.
He did, yeah.
I think that's still low though.
Mhm.
One of the things that did cause me a little pause was the assessor's office using 50% occupancy rather than the actual of 35.8. So, I looked at that and took the assessor's value times 85% basically, and then times the 20% cap, and came up with a larger number than the assessor's actually asking for. But if you just use the occupancy of 35.8 and deduct that almost 15% out, it comes out to about 2,003,000. So somewhere in there, somewhere between that and the assessor's amount, the 2.2 basically is where I like.
What did you?
I'd like to hear what you all say.
There was a blended 40. 27. Yeah, I thought the 1,710,000 was too low. And I actually didn't have a problem with the assessor's valuation. So if you want to be, rather than the 2,000,003, you had 2,000,000 what?
2,003,000?
I'm in there, but I'd like to hear what you say, Teresa.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of in agreement with you, Brett. I couldn't really tell what he used in balancing the two. I do believe he's consistently using a combination of income value and sales, particularly on hotels like this. I did go back and look at some of our past cases to make sure that was consistent. So I'm leaning more towards the assessors, but I agree with you. I was a little bit concerned with that 50%. Raising it to 50% occupancy over the actual 35%. So I'm leaning more with you, Brent, on lowering it, although lowering it to what, I'm not certain. I haven't done any math on that. So I'm good with whatever you come up with.
Well, the 2,003,000 is 270,000 lowering, which is not that bad. How about 2,010,000?
2,100,000.
You had 2,030,000.
Right.
No.
2,010,000.
Mm,
I'm good with it. I just think there has to be in some fairness, a little bit of accountability for the difference in 50% occupancy and the 35% actual.
Agreed.
So I'm good at that. So 2,010,000?
Yes.
Okay. So I'd like to move on BOE 528, agenda item 6, that we set the fair market value of this property at $2,010,000.
I'll second.
all in favor? Aye. Okay, that takes us to item 7 on the agenda, which is BOE 529. And that is 624 South MacArthur, R 141982970. This has, okay, so the revenue, he had two figures here as well. 1,676,628 versus 1,780,000. He had a real high expense ratio of 79%. He never blended, he just stuck straight with.
He did say he would accept 1,780,000.
Right. So that is a 500,000 difference. 500,000 differential.
What was the assessor's number on this?
2,240,000.
Coming down from 2,806,000.
Right. And his two values per room is 40,000 and 43,000.
And the comps were at 42 million per room.
I really didn't quarrel with the assessor's valuation. I actually like the blended method. Now, there's a difference in the per room, and I don't know which one.
Yeah, but I think the assessor was fair. I mean, he's lower than the comps cost per room. So I think he was fair, which he needed to be because the income value came in lower.
Right.
So I didn't really quarrel with the assessor's valuation on this one either.
I did good.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion on BOE 529, item number 7 on the agenda, to set the fair market value at 2,240,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that brings us to the last item, which is item 8 on the agenda, BOE 530. And that is 13500 Plaza Terrace, which is a Wyndham, R1468-63 530. The assessor is at 2,480,000. We have the two number spread, 1,965,918, but he could live with 2,030,000. And this one had an 85% expense.
Yeah, the assessor did the same thing on this one, using the combination of the income value and the comps. The cost per room, based off of what the assessor's valuation is 40,000.
Right.
And the actual comps support a valuation of 53,669. So I think he's being very fair
Yes, and his
on that. He's much lower than the comp value. He's only about 300,000 over the income value, it looks like.
I agree.
And his expense was 75% versus 85%. Okay, I can live with the 2,480,000.
So I'll make a motion on BOE 530, item number 8 on the agenda, to set the fair market value at 2,480,000.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, that was the last item on the agenda, the citizen participation. So next week, we're just doing Monday and have a decision on Tuesday. No, that's the following.
No, that's
Now, next week is
I guess that we are doing that next week, right?
Monday,
Tuesday,
Tuesday, and
and the
Wednesday.
following week, yeah.
No, just Monday and Tuesday next week.
Because remember, we
Well, we
combined that
put
guys
all
all
that
on one
guys
day.
all on one day. The word kid, yeah, okay.
And we also have an exercise on Monday
On Monday.
at 9.
So BOE won't start till 10.
Okay,
Is the exercise at 9:30?
9:30.
Okay.
let me see if I get my calendar.
I knew we were at 10, but
Let me check my calendar. Because whenever you said it, it hits my calendar. Monday is the first. Oh, where am I? There it is. Excess 9:30. Yes, BOE 10. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Motion to.
You should send him off.
move to adjourn?
And move
I'll
to
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You'll probably see him next week.